Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel Get Sharp, where I sharpen your knives. I'm making a video today that I wish I had when I was on the fence about the next sharpening system to invest in. At that time I was using primarily whetstones, but I was starting to get intrigued by different systems out there that could help me put an even more even edge on my knives. My goal has always been to put a factory edge on knives, one that if I did it, you couldn't tell if the factory or a machine had put on it. My research led me to the Tormek T-8. I was instantly deterred when I saw the prices. They're not cheap. They're very expensive machines. So if you're anything like me in the situation I was, you probably got money in the bank, but you know, might be difficult to explain to your wife or your husband, whatever, how to justify spending $2,000 on a new machine. So in this video, I'm going to go over the bare essentials to help you get a dull knife to a razor sharp knife. And then who knows, hopefully from there you can start marketing yourself and telling your friends, family, and neighbors about your machine, and you could potentially even start your own small knife sharpening business. So it goes without saying, you're going to have to get the machine itself. This has got the motor in it, the drive wheel, the water reservoir here, and the small support bar. That's going to set you back 550 bucks. Okay, you can't get a knife sharp without the stone, so you're gonna have to invest in a stone. I'm gonna recommend that you purchase the your first stone be the SG 250 here, and this is kind of the standard go-to, you know, jack of all trades stone that people use. Now this stone's going to set you back 270 bucks. So now you've got your machine in the cart, you've got your stone in the cart, and you cannot check out yet. You must get a knife jig at the bare minimum, assuming knives is your cup of tea or that's what you're focusing on. There's other jigs for chisels, for planing blades, even for sharpening drill bits. Not getting into all that today. We're focusing on sharpening blades, and at this rate, smaller blades, because all we have is the standard support bar that comes with your system. So anyhow, you're going to add this small centering knife jig to your cart as well. That's going to add $63 to the overall cost. Now we're pretty close. We can definitely grind a knife with everything we've got in the cart right now, but we need to get that knife to a razor sharp edge. So there's two more things we need. I'm going to recommend that you jump on a different website called eBay. I'm sure you've heard of it. And you're going to buy a couple of diamond plates. They run about $10. Unfortunately, the cheapest ones do take a couple weeks to arrive. If you can't wait, you're like me, you want it now, jump on Amazon. You can find them there. You're going to want to get an 80 grit, and I'm going to recommend probably something close to 1,000. I have an 80 in a 1200, which I would use for this scenario here. And what those are going to allow you to do is dress your stone at a low grit. If I apply this 80, it's going to turn this stone into a roughly 300 to 400 grit stone. If I apply the 1200 grit, now I'm getting into the honing stone area where I'm getting 3,000 to 4,000. Better fact check me on that though. So these two diamond plates are going to set you back about 20 bucks. And lastly, we've got everything we need. We've put the edge on. We applied our 1200 grit diamond plate. So now we got like a honing stone. But That honing stone, we're not quite there yet because I don't think it's going to knock the burr off. So you're going to have to get yourself the Tormek leather honing wheel. And this thing's going to set you back 110 bucks. This is one of the most overpriced items they sell, in my opinion. Don't get me started. Actually, I'm going to make a whole nother video on Tormek and their pricing. I mean, it's I don't know, they have an interesting strategy, but anyhow. Woo! This one, if you want to buy it, it's going to be used on eBay for $85. Just teasing. Doesn't look like I put any damage on it. Nope, we're good. So anyways, so quick recap. We got the machine. That's $550. We got our SG $250 jack of all trades grinding stone. That's $270. We've got our small centering knife jig. That's $63. We got our 2 diamond plates at $10 each for $20. And then finally, we got our leather honing wheel at $110. All in, double check my math, $1,010. Hopefully that's enough for you to be able to convince your spouse or even yourself to go ahead and hit that buy button. Uncle Sam's watching, of course, so he's gonna need about 100 of that. So all in, $1,110. So let's kind of jump into. So you've checked out. Your machine's gonna arrive on Friday. Get excited. Next thing I'm gonna do is show you a couple of the things I wish I would have known when I first got my machine. The first one is how to remove this stone here. At first glance, you're gonna take a look and you're gonna see a locking washer here, and you're gonna twist and nothing's gonna happen. You're gonna twist other thing, nothing's gonna happen. And you're gonna wonder, why the hell won't that budge? Boy, it's so pretty, I don't want to take channel locks to that thing. So you're gonna flip it around, you're gonna look at the other side, you're gonna remember underneath your honing wheel there was this nut here. You're gonna run to the garage or your toolbox and you're gonna grab a crescent wrench and you're gonna start cranking on that. Nothing's gonna happen, or maybe it does. Well, pause. Thank God you came across this video before you ran into this situation. Let me show you a quick tip. What you're gonna do is you're gonna place your right hand on the honing wheel, your left hand on the SG250, your main grinding stone. You're gonna hold tight with the right hand and pull back with the left. And when you do that, you just loosen this bolt right up. And there we go. Bolts off. I can actually just take my wheel right off nice and easy. Now, to lock it back up, we're gonna do the opposite. Hands in the same place, we're gonna rotate the opposite way. And boom, we're locked in. All right, so we've got our stone locked in place. We need to fill this reservoir up with some water. I've pre-filled mine, but just for illustration purposes, we're gonna add a little bit more. Next step, we're gonna raise this reservoir up. And we're not gonna go all the way up. We're just gonna get enough to wet the bottom of the stone, because what's gonna happen is that water is gonna end up overflowing and getting all over whatever's underneath this. That's why, as an option, I'm gonna recommend a silicone tray. This thing's very flimsy. It's on Amazon for like $7.99 in the United States, and it's marketed as a pet dish tray. Get the silicone one though. Don't get a hard one. This one's actually very useful for other things, more so than I think the hard ones are. Anyhow, it's there to capture any water that's gonna spill over, and it will happen, I promise you. Next thing, we're gonna plug our Tormek into the wall. We're plugged in. We're gonna hit the black button to get it spinning. First time you do this stone's gonna be completely dry, and it's gonna wanna suck up a ton of water. We need it to suck up that water to soften it up and get it conditioned and ready to start chewing on some steel. I had this stone spinning for about 10 minutes earlier. I always do that before I film. That way you guys don't have to sit here and watch. So in this instance, this stone's ready. But on your first time, in about a minute, maybe 2, you're gonna notice all your water in the reservoir is gone. It's in the stone. You're gonna need to refill. If you're like me, you're in the garage, you don't have a faucet anywhere nearby. If you do, good on you. I have a couple of, I have 2 Kirkland Signature peanut butter pretzel jars that are empty. Hang on to these when they go empty. This one is for my my dirty water waste. And the second one here, this is my clean water. And on a Saturday, I might be sharpening 5 to 10 knives in a day. So I'll be using those 2 to clean up my tray. So we are all set up. We need to get a knife to sharpen. Right here, this is probably one of the most common knives in America. This is the standard 8-inch chef's knife. This one's by J.A. Hinkle's, which very well may be the most common knife in America. And we need to attach our jig to it so we can get to sharpening. The way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna take the tip and just go down just a tad bit, like you can see there. But I don't want to necessarily just go right in the center of the blade. I want to get close to where this pivots. My pivot point's right about here. So you can see it's flat, and then the curve begins. I want the middle of this where that curve begins. I need to be on a flat, steady surface in order to do this. And in this case, you know what? I'm going to use a marker to help me better identify that spot. I've got my marker. These have a marker on the center of this, but it rubbed off by mistake. Clamp down. Now I'm using only the nut in the front to get a little bit of a bite. I did miss one step though. If this is your knife and you don't care, go ahead and clamp onto the steel. But let's say this is your mother-in-law's knife or your next door neighbor's. We want to take care of other people's property, and since this is a metal on metal situation, let's put some athletic tape on there. I actually have some masking tape in the middle which would have protected it, but you couldn't see that, so we're doing this instead. Next thing I'm going to do is grab my caliper, and we're going to poke out the bottom, and we're going to measure from this tip to the blade, from this tip to the blade. We want those to be equal. And I can already tell you they're not. I'm way too close to the blade on this side, so I'm going to have to cock it to my left a little bit. And let's go ahead and remove. Ooh, second try. Look at that. The more you do this, the more efficient you get. All right. Well, we don't have any fancy tools to figure out the best angle on this thing. But what we do have is we have a Sharpie. And we're going to go ahead and take this Sharpie. And we're going to mark the existing bevel of the edge. In this case, my goal is to just fix the existing bevel. Why? Let me show you why. Because this friggin' knife won't even cut a piece of paper. It'll rip a piece of paper. Little cut there, but I'm just tearing. Looks like there's one spot on the knife that might have a little bit of an edge, but we're tearing paper. We want to be able to just hit that paper and just have it fall off, like the blade didn't even touch it. And that's what we're going to do today. But we need to figure out our edge. I have 17 written on here from last time, so that's probably the last edge I put on it. I'm going to go ahead and set it down here. I'm going to take a look at the side. We know straight down's 90. We know halfway between 90 and right here, the in between is 45. So we can kind of get a general idea of what angle we're at. Plus you could also just look, and I can see we're way above the existing bevel right now where the knife lies. So I'm going to go ahead and crank up. That might be close right there. Let's take a look. I'm going to put a little pressure, downward pressure. We've got our jig sitting on here flat. Spinning the stone. And we're going to look at where it took off. Where the ink got taken off at. I'm going to end up doing a more in-depth on this process in the future, where I'll do close-ups and show you. So I'm too high. I actually need to go lower. Okay, let's go a little lower. And while I'm doing this, if you hit the like button and subscribe, eventually you're gonna watch me cut myself. It will happen. It's already happened several times. So if you enjoy watching people get cut, this is the channel for you. Go a little lower. Apply some more ink. Oh, we're getting close, we're getting close. Each time my goal is I want to see the ink get rubbed off from the top of the bevel to the apex of the blade. There we go. That's about as good as we're going to get, and I'm going to show you. Alright, if we focus in there right on the center of the screen, you can see where all that Sharpie ink was taken off the blade. That is exactly what I'm looking for. I took off all the ink from the apex to the top of the bevel. Alright, so after all that, we're finally ready to put our first piece of steel to this amazing machine. I'm going to double check my reservoir height. I do want to come up just a tad. And now we're going to go ahead and let her rip. Now there's two ways people like to do this. Some people like to go nose to heel, tip to heel. Some people like to go heel to tip. I'm a heel to tip guy right now. Might change in the future. But before we do that, I just realized I didn't lock in my support bar. We know we've got the right angle, we've got the right height. What I like to do, I put my hand right here in the center, I apply my pressure there, and I tighten those knobs, pushing down on the pressure there. I have seen videos where people put the pressure here, and I feel like, you know, the bar's not as square if you do that. Make sure those are nice and tight, and then I like to twist this down a little bit too, just to lock all that in. I'm hoping I'm not stripping that when I do it. So, from tip to heel, this is probably the best way to learn. What you're going to be doing, you're going to apply your jig to the bar here, and your goal is to come across nice and even. You never want this to rock. You never want it to rock from one side to the other. You want this to remain flat from here to here the entire time. If you need to get at a spot of the blade you can't reach, you pivot left to right while keeping this flat. And let's go ahead and do our first pass here. With some bigger knives, you're going to want to make sure that your honing wheel is not attached, because it will get in the way. Usually it nicks my finger and scares the shit out of me. Once you have an incident with this thing, you get a little jumpy whenever you feel something touch your hand, whether it be nicking it on the honing wheel or getting a little water on you. At least that's been my experience. And I'm just an everyday guy. I didn't, you know, aside from my grandpa was into knives, so I learned to sharpen as a kid. But he taught me up on, he raised me up on, you know, your standard carbide blade, files, and we had a couple Norton stones. As I got older, I started experimenting with higher quality whetstones. And this isn't one of your knives or one of my local customers. This is one I own personally. So I'm just ripping through this as fast as I can, because the goal of this video is to show you the minimum amount of equipment you need to make a razor edge blade. It's always good to have a rag or a paper towel close by, because you're going to constantly have to remove water from the bevel so you can check your work. Alright, looks like I've established a new edge on the blade. I'm not particularly happy with the shape of it, but I've been going fast. And I don't have a belt sander right now to help me straighten these things out easily. That'll come in the future. But for sake of showing you how to do this quick and dirty, we're just going to keep going. My goal is to spend the same amount of time. I want every millimeter of this blade to spend the exact amount of time with contact as a stone as the next millimeter. And that's how you're going to guarantee a perfectly straight edge. Feel for a burr. Don't quite have one yet. I'm going to show you how it looks when I start from the back. Your jig is positioned so far in the front, it'll want to skate on you in the back. So it takes a bit of focus. I'm going to go ahead and just dress this up with that 80 grit plate real quick. And we're going to be roughing up the stone so it chews through this steel more easily. Yeah, I don't know if I'm a weird guy or if every man sharpens for fun on their free time. By day, I'm a banker. But when I'm not working, I'm sharpening knives and blades, scissors, shears for friends and families and people in my community. So it's actually a really cool little small business you could set up for yourself. And the barrier to entry is literally $1,100. You technically don't even need one of these systems to do it. But it would be nice to, you know, for your first customer, to be able to show them that you're able to put a factory straight edge and sharp on their knife. That's going to keep them coming back to you. All right, our burr is happening. I'm going to give it one more pass on this side and just confirm I've got a good solid burr across the entire blade. I like to tuck my fingers that are on the jig. I've just got a thing. I'm terrified of losing a finger. See, I just nicked my finger on this wheel here, and it causes you to react, you know, because you can't get hurt, not by that, but it made me flinch. All right, well, at this point, we've established a nice, good bevel on this blade. I'm very happy with it. Let's just check, make sure we got a burr all the way across. You can feel that burr. You just take the tip of your fingernail and you'll feel it grinding against it. Or just run your fingers across it, get a little cut. I'm gonna do one more on this side. Usually just wipe the water off on my belly, but I'm in my work clothes today. Yeah, I've got a lot of extra meat on this end here. So much so that I need to actually take it to a grinder to reform the blade. This is one of my practice blades, so it's not a big deal right now. But yeah, I'm happy. Next step, we're gonna dress this, our only grinding wheel. Try to get it as close as we can to a honing wheel. We're gonna do that with the 1200 grit diamond plate. And our goal is to just perfect the edge. If we can knock the burr off in the meantime while we're doing this, that would be great too. I don't have a lot of high hopes for that, because this stone isn't perfect for this. I've tried it before. But we will knock it off with that leather honing wheel there. Alright. That's gonna have to be good enough. Let's see what side's our burr on. Our burr's on your side right now. So I'm not gonna attack from that side. I'm gonna start on this side. My goal is to knock that burr off as gently as possible. Once you get a good edge cut, It actually feels like you're on tracks. Beautiful. I felt really good about that pass. And yeah, there's a notable difference. The side I just grinded after honing it with, or dressing it with the 1200 grit, it's a lot smoother looking than the last side that was sitting on the 80 grit. I'm tempted to try to show you, but I just don't think the camera's magnification would you'd really see a difference. You're just gonna have to trust me. And as I go across, I'm just applying a little pressure, not a ton of pressure. Especially now that I'm in the honing stage. I'm just trying to maintain a steady cadence as I swim across the stone. Leather wheel nicked my pinky. Scared me a little bit. Alright, the burr's still there. It's not going away. You know, I just realized one thing I forgot to do. I typically do my do a secondary or my final edge at a 2 to 3 degrees higher. So the first one will be like this, then the second will be a little more shallow. I didn't do that this time around though. Let's do a pass more on each side and then we'll hit that leather stone or leather wheel. And on this one, my final pass, I'm putting as little pressure as I can, but enough to keep everything steady. Alright. That's it for the SG250. The final step is to knock that burr off using that leather honing wheel. And to do that, we're going to flip this around. When we're using this wheel here, the wheel's coming into the blade. Don't want to do that on this leather wheel. First thing I want to do, I want to make sure I get rid of all the water. It's all gone. I'm going to pop our self-centering knife jig off. And might have been a minute since I threw some compound on there. Yeah, I did not mention that. You know, I don't even know. I bought this off of Facebook Marketplace, and I'm glad I did because I got about a 60% discount on my Tormek system. So I'm not sure if the wheel comes with any kind of compound. If not, jump on Amazon and you can get a hold of some Chromium Oxide compound on there for about $5. The cheaper one though, it does seem to have quite a bit of wax in it. and I wasn't super excited about it. So I went with a different company. But you know, if I ever purchase chromium oxide again, which will probably be in a couple of years, I'm gonna just buy it in powder form and apply it as I make my own solution. Because I mean, this thing was 30 bucks. It's just, my opinion, that's a ripoff. But what do I know? I'm just a banker. All right, so the goal here is to knock the burr that's formed off this knife. The burr is currently on your side. I have this little cheat level here, and I know that I was probably somewhere at 17 degrees, so I'm going to set this to 15. And what I want to do is just kind of see, what's this angle look like? What's 15 degrees look like? Right there. So I want to stay at or under that. I'm not trying to go beyond because I don't want to rip into the work I did. Anytime you hear buzzing or a weird sound, it's probably your reservoir. And since we're not sharpening anymore, we're going to go ahead and, not using that stone, we're going to lower that. And I'm going to use my little cheat level here. And we're going to start the honing process. And you'll see that that compound starts to build up on your edge. And you'll know that when you see that, it's doing work. It's my opinion that you cannot overhone a knife. Eventually you're just going to polish it. Most sane people won't have enough time in their lifetime to overhone, assuming that they're honing, polishing at an angle lower than their primary edge. Might have went too far right there. Just lost focus for 1 second. You can actually hear that burr getting knocked off if you pay close enough attention or listen for it. Every now and again you hear a tick, metal tick. And that's that burr getting ripped off. Let's do one more pass on this side. This little cheat level, I actually bought it back in my whetstone days. It does not work for that, but for this it's actually quite handy. Helps you hold a smooth edge the entire time. Alright, well, with that, we have honed our edge and we've got a bunch of compound hangers here. Let's go ahead and clean that off. This rag is filthy. It used to be close to white. Not the case anymore. Probably got a pound of powdered steel in it. Do a 3-finger test here. Oh, there we go. Just beautiful. I'm not very good at this, to be honest. I'm gonna cut myself. Okay, good enough. This thing's fucking sharp. So be careful. Once you have a sharp blade, be careful. Well, we did it. We took a look at the minimum barrier to entry of what you need to get a dull knife to, I don't want to say razor sharp edge, but we're pretty friggin' close. That paper is not easy. Definitely not the easiest paper in the world to cut with a blade. It's very, very thin, and it's cutting through it like butter. Maybe I'll get better at it, my technique one day. Be able to do something fancy. Or maybe we need to do something besides paper. Paper's kind of boring. If you've got any ideas of what I should be using for my cut tests, let me know in the comments below, because yeah, I'm not opposed to bringing meat out or whatever, and then we just stick with that and that becomes our cut test material. I want to hear from you. So we've got our all-in $1,100 after tax, give or take, and you're sharpening on this thing for the rest of your life, or at least until your SG250 runs out on you. Well, I really appreciate you joining and watching this channel. I have a goal of earning 100 subscribers by the end of this summer. So if you haven't already, do me a solid, give me a subscribe. I'll continue to work hard to make the best material I can for you. And if you have a dull knife and you want to see me sharpen it here for you on YouTube, go visit www.getsharpusa.com. Connect with me and we'll work out an arrangement. I'll give you the best deal you can get on a razor sharp edge, and you'll get to watch it all right here. Thank you.